Thanks so much.
you.
Okay. So I think first we'll open the meeting and then maybe we'll do a quick intro, a couple of things, and then we'll get into the hearings. That's okay with everybody. So typically read a couple of items first. Welcome to the June 30th meeting of Scituate Conservation Commission. This meeting's being held virtual as an alternate means of public access pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, temporarily amending certain provisions of the open meeting law. You are hereby advised that this meeting and all communications during this meeting may be recorded by the town of Scituate in accordance with that open meeting law. And then the town of Scituate's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. The Scituate Conservation Commission is committed to providing an environment of respect during the meeting. We ask all members to interact in a polite manner, even when there is disagreement. And we value the participation of our community and want all participants, including marginalized and minoritized communities, to feel welcome and respected. And we ask our committee members and all that participate to commit to these standards and support and respect our community. Okay, those things said, we have an agenda. And can I get a motion to accept that agenda? I would again like to just say right at the beginning, we'll do a couple of quick intros. And
Okay.
do we have, we also wanted to discuss briefly the an issue going on with the North River Commission.
Yes.
We'll do that at the end.
Okay. So I make a motion, we accept the agenda as written with the two add-ons Frank just mentioned.
And as Penny,
I'll second that.
second is Eric. All in favor? Jen?
She's not
Jen
on
is not with us tonight.
Okay. Brendan?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
We have a new member, Roger.
Yes.
Thank you. And Richard.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. So just a couple of things. We just called out Roger Carroll's name. Roger, welcome to the Scituate Conservation Commission. Really appreciate your stepping in, and hopefully we'll have some time to catch up a little bit more. But the process during our meetings, I don't know if you've had a chance to watch any, kind of what we do is we'll open a meeting or continue to a meeting, and typically Jen Smith will make some comments, or the applicant will make their presentation. Jen will make some comments, and then we'll circulate it through the commission. Not to make you feel bad, but I'll probably let you go last so you have a chance to hear some of the other commission members' questions and things like that. And then eventually we just do some sort of rotation. And then I think a few of the other things we'll just sort of learn as we go. And then I'd also just like to acknowledge Richard this evening and appreciate him being here for one more meeting. Richard's been serving for a long time and really representing the whole town, but being an extra, gives us a lot of input from the Humrock section of Scituate, which has been hugely helpful, and we really appreciate it. And we're really kind of not letting him off the hook because he's agreed to continue to participate in some fashion, and we truly appreciate that. And Josh will keep emailing you.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the kind words.
Oh,
It's been a
thank
pleasure
you.
for 10 years. It really has. 10 years, actually, almost to the exact date. So
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I started the first meeting in July 2016. So
Well, you
Wow.
could come to another one if you want.
we'll see. We'll see. I'm not disappearing. That's all.
All right. Well, again, it's truly appreciated, and it's a lot of
Been
effort.
good. It's a great group. It's a great group to work with.
Some nights, some nights. All right. Well, all that said, why don't we get rolling? So we have 38 to 46 Treasure Island,
They're gonna continue.
and I need to open that, right?
Yes.
Okay. So on June 30th, 2025, the 6 p.m. meeting, Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Situate Code of Bylaws for a notice of intent filed by 38-46 Treasure Island Road, LLC, for a septic repair located at 3846 Treasure Island Road. Scituate abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meeting is available on the agenda posted on the website. And this is someone from Morse Engineering.
Yes, and they requested to continue to the next available, which is August 4th.
So I'm gonna make a motion
So-
to
Go ahead, Penny. Sure.
continue 3846 Treasure Island Road to August 4th.
Okay. So Roger, just so it happens sometimes when someone's advertised to have a meeting, and we've already got it slated to open, and then there may be some issues that have arisen that the applicant's not ready to present. So we open the meeting as it's been advertised, but then we just continue right away. So there's no debate or discussion um, on that at the time.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
I'll
So
second Penny's motion.
motion by Penny, seconded by Richard. All in favor.
Eric, Brendan.
Brendan,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and
Right.
me, Frank. Yep. And if you forget anything, Penny will remind you right away.
So true.
See what I mean, Roger? He can't
She's
wait.
already got my
Oh,
cell
Monday.
phone, so she calls me and texts me all the time already. So I think I'll be good.
There you go. All right, we have 47 Rebecca Road. This is continued.
Yep.
Correct. And they have requested another continuance. They requested to continue to July 21st, but I must say that agenda is pretty
Yeah.
full. So that's why I'm asking for August 4th.
Okay,
Okay.
so we'll make a motion, Penny.
Yep, I make a motion to continue 47 Rebecca Road to August 4th.
Okay, so need a second
I'll second that.
from Brendan. All in favor. Eric,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank. Yes, great. Thank you. 113 River Street. So I'm opening that one on.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you don't need to open it.
yeah, I think we opened it. We did not discuss it. We continued it, and this would be our first discussion.
All right, I have a sheet here to read.
Okay.
So you sure we open?
Yeah, I believe we did, Frank.
Okay. Well, then you don't have to hear my spiel.
Well,
But
that's okay.
we have Sean Papage. I'm asking him to unmute.
Raise me, Bill.
And let me know anybody else that I should unmute for this one as well.
I'm unmuted as well, Jen. This is Darren Grady from Grady Consulting.
Good
Okay.
evening.
Good evening. Would you like me to present?
Sure.
Sean, do you want me to present or you want
Yeah,
me
that'd be great. Why don't you go ahead and present? It won't let me undo my video. I don't know if I'm supposed to be on video or not, but that's fine. You'd be better off probably not seeing me, frankly.
Oh,
So
You might be better off not even hearing me, frankly.
No. Come on.
But no, Darren will present.
Sure.
Okay.
So this is a modification of notice of intent that was issued for this site for a raise and rebuild. The structure was rebuilt on piles and now is elevated. What was absent from that plan was landscaping, and Sean Papich had prepared this plan, and they've gone through a couple of iterations here. I believe one was presented to you. The one that was presented to you had like a grilling area and had a chimney fireplace. Also had several other areas that were turf grass. This is a much more simplified plan where it's keeping the existing asphalt driveway in the front of the lot, to the left of the sheet. It's keeping like a sand cover out near the existing shed. It's proposing a walkway that's river stone. Everything's very natural, and the plantings are all around there. The only thing that might not be natural, the paver is shown for a walkway between and underneath the house to a patio out back, and the patio area out back adjacent to the shed. Um, this is raised, and there is no proposed enclosures underneath this. Um, this is kind of what I've talked to Sean about, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, or Sean can help too.
Okay, thank you. Jen, do you want to lead off?
I did want to, and Darren, you might have said this, but I just wanted to add on the plan that was originally approved, there was a section, like a pretty good sized section of, I think it was asphalt or that was with that original order of conditions. And so this is kind of rearranging some of that square footage of hard finish.
That is correct.
And there is also a fence going around the property as well. I believe that's new. I don't think there's currently a fence.
That is new, and they did have some details on that as well. It's 1 by 6 cedar board with 1 inch spacing typically, and allow a 6 inch clearance along the base of the fence. I forgot to mention that. Thank you.
Okay. Yep. So I wanted to bring that up as well.
All right. Richard?
They were working there today, but I believe they were working on the asphalt driveway, which was approved already. The on the fence, usually down there we look for a little more than an inch, more like 2 inches off the ground. Just would mention that. The rest of it I don't think would be an issue. Did you mention, however, that the shed is raised?
I did not. And as far as the fence, we have 6 inches clearance below it.
Okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
misunderstood then. Um, on the shed, that's on the ground? Am I correct?
Yes, that is on the ground. Right, Sean? Can you confirm that?
Well, it exists today, and it actually is. I believe it actually sits on piles. I think it's actually sits up on a raised uh, pile at the corners and probably 6 points along the
And
way,
is,
and it's been there for quite some time.
and is the shed staying?
Staying as is.
Okay, thank you.
Staying as is.
I think those are the only things I wanted to check out. Am I correct? All they were doing today, because I went by there, was working on the old, redoing the old driveway.
That would make sense. I wasn't by there today, Richard, but I think that would be what they were doing. There's existing asphalt there,
That's
and
correct.
we're probably cleaning up the whatever
Okay.
that is. I believe they're going to
Yeah.
replace that in kind.
I-
It'll be less square footage of it.
Yeah.
Frank, I think that's all the questions I have for now.
Okay. Penny?
Yeah, first, let me start off. It says native stone surface where the cars are going. What is the native stone, please?
That'll be a 3/4 inch native river stone is what that is. So it'd be a typical 3/4 inch stone. We call it native stone or native river stone. Those
Okay.
areas were going to be covered in the approved plan. There were dimensioned areas for permeable pavers, and it covered what the asphalt didn't cover. It covered probably another 2/3 to 3/4 of the rest of the site were going to be all pavers. It was dimensioned on the north side of the property line, on the south property line. And we took away a large percentage of that. And so those areas underneath the house that you see the cars in,
Yeah.
those are going to be stone, essentially crushed stone.
Good.
So
Okay.
those are going to something that's much looser in their surface.
Very good. Oh, okay, and I believe I'm looking. No, I'm looking at what everyone else is. Some places it looks like it says the fence is 4 feet high and other places 6 feet.
Yeah.
Is there a reason for that up and down?
Yeah, well, the reason was to transition, Penny, was to transition for something lower toward the front. And then where
Yeah.
we screen between use areas between neighbors, we were going
Okay,
taller. And I know they talked to the building department about it also.
yeah. Okay, but you are gonna have 6 inches underneath so stuff can flow and critters can flow,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay, and the existing shed is up off the ground, so water and whatever can get through there.
Correct.
Okay, I'm happy, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Brendan?
Yeah, I guess my only question is you have in here concrete pavers, but so the pavers themselves are not permeable. It's just the under.
They're a permeable setting bed, yes, Brendan. They're a permeable setting bed with jointing, permeable joints.
Okay. And how wide are the joints? Are they like,
They would typically be 3/8 to a half inch.
okay. Yeah, that was my only question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, things look good. Definitely improvement. I was wondering about the um, retaining edge, the vertical granite on the back side of the property.
Yeah.
How much is that a reveal there? And
Probably
is it
maximum of 12 inches, but frankly might end up being more like 6 or 8. It's very short.
now does that intersect with the fence line, or is that it appears as if it's off the fence line?
Yeah, it would be
on
off the fence
plan.
line. The fence line would sit inside of it. So we'd
Yep.
have it to where it's still, of course, on their property, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
you'd have it sit just outside of it. It'd be like a 4-inch edging. It's really not a lot of it. Might be able to do it without it, but we wanted to be kind of belt and suspenders to make sure we could get it flat enough there. Super sandy site also. So
Right.
we
Right,
felt,
of course.
felt like we had to put it in there for the physical aspect of it, Eric.
Yeah, and with that, if you do end up needing it, were you planning on securing that with concrete or
It'd be a concrete, typically a concrete haunch. Yeah, we would typically do a small concrete haunch.
Yeah.
It's almost really like using a riser vertically or a tread vertically in a lot of ways, right? That's
Yeah.
kind of what we're tending to do there. Yeah.
All right. And the only other thing I wanted to point out just is it looks like a nice balance of natives incorporated into the plant list. So
I thought you might comment on that.
Really? Have I ever given an impression otherwise?
I was waiting for that other shoe to drop, Eric, is what I was waiting for.
Yeah. Well, no, I think it looked good. So thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And Roger? So
Yeah.
this hearing had come before us before, and we'd made a bunch of comments, and so some of these changes are in response to our comments.
Yeah, I don't have any additional questions, just listening to the other groups.
Sure. Thank you. Do we have anybody in the audience to speak to this?
And if please raise your hand in Zoom and we'll unmute you. And I don't see any raised hands at the moment.
Okay. So yeah, Penny, just when he's talking about the natural stones, like, so rather than have crushed stone, you would have a rounded stone. So it's a natural stone, like
Yeah, Frank, it's a little bit more rounded. It'll be kind of irregular, but irregular with almost kind of like a rounded edge to it.
right.
Yeah.
But it comes, so rather than go through a crusher necessarily, this might get screened from a bank or something. So
yeah, you exactly. Well, it typically comes in 3/4 stone. It'll go 3/8. We don't always like to use a 3/8 because that can get caught in shoes and boots and start scratching floors. So we don't want to upset the contractors and the homeowners and the architects, so we go to the 3/4 inch to
Right,
try to
right.
keep people happy, and it seems to work pretty well. You can certainly get larger ones, but then they start to get to be a little bit uncomfortable to walk on with
Yeah,
your ankles and your feet. I think that just my personal opinion.
Yeah,
I,
you're right.
I think it's the right material for that application. Um, what did we have that was granite before? What I don't have the old
It was just a
plan.
band. It was a banding that we had on the terrace, so the kind of linear band. You know, we have to have a little bit of artistic, even a tiny bit of artistic license. So we put the granite band around. It would also around that rear terrace, and which is permeable also, but we would do that on a setting bed of a similar nature too.
Okay. I just not remembering everything that we had, but I think that Jen, do you have any other thoughts or comments
Um,
before?
yeah, well, I did want to add that it is great that all of this landscape is being added to the site. I think that is a benefit, and that I appreciate the details on the fence, especially having it a little, off the ground. I had missed the detail about the granite retaining edge. I do have not around the perimeter of the patio, but around the fence.
Yes.
I do have some concerns about that. If I would say I would probably prefer that not be used, but that would be my only other comment. Otherwise, I think we have a lot more going on here than what was originally approved, given all the additional landscaped area or, all the vegetation coming in.
Well, that's good.
Because before it was asphalt like
Yeah.
half the lot, with, from boundary to boundary.
Okay. Um,
Jen, you're saying you like that,
I'm saying I don't like the vertical granite retaining edge that's next to the fence.
right?
I
But
guess I
you
had
like
missed
you
that
like the
detail.
plantings, but you
I
like the plantings.
do like all the vegetation. I
Oh,
think in this area that's really helpful.
but
How
the
Frank,
high is that?
can I the but the granite border is really just aesthetics. It's not sticking up in the air, right, Sean?
Well,
This is flush with the
two different things going on. There is a flush granite border on the terrace. That's flush. Yeah, that's aesthetics. We're talking about the little granite edge that we had in the kind of we call it the northeast corner of right at the we called it a vertical granite retaining edge. It's retaining about 6 to 8, 10 inches, something like that. So it's very, very minimal. We could probably push that grade um, in that planting bed if we had to. If something, I mean, it's a really small piece of stone edging, which to me should be a non-issue. Um, Certainly, I appreciate the concerns, but it's a really minor piece set right at the property line to make that a flatter planting area. Could probably, if we had to, we could slope that planting area without the grant. Sorry, I got a dog here that's unsupervised. You're gonna hear a few barks. Um, but if we had to push that grade, if we had to push that grade in the planting beds, we could probably do that without needing the edge. It's just we were trying to be careful, from a physical standpoint to have it in there in case we need it.
Jen, is
Frank,
your concern that edge will divert water or create some sort of problem? I mean, it helps hold in all the plantings, but
Well, it's on the outside of the fence. So I
Frank,
I am concerned about it diverting sand and water.
Frank,
It
yep.
would it
Good.
would still meet the grade. It meets the grade essentially of the land behind it,
Right.
essentially. So
Frank,
Yes, Richard.
they're on River Street. They have houses behind them.
oh yes.
And my picture of this thing, and I understand, I agree with Jen actually, But I would think more than a diversion of water, it's to hold sand back that will come down as the houses behind them are actually graded up to the street behind them. There is another street. It's not always true in Humrock, but in this case, there are two streets. And
Okay.
so my impression was that this would help keep sand from flowing back into the yard and into the flowers and all of that. And that's why I didn't raise it as a concern, although I totally understand what Jen's concern is. But I think I understand what they're saying. I just wouldn't want it very high.
Right.
And how much do you think it's going to be projecting out of the ground, Sean?
Anybody, yeah, I said 6 to 12 or 6 to 8. It's somewhere in that neighborhood. Depending how the last tight grade works out. It's a very flattish site. From back to front, it's about 1 foot maximum from the entire property. So it's extremely minimal. Of course, it's all sand. It's in an odd situation where you oddly enough, you don't technically have to pitch it to drain like we would do almost everything.
Right.
But it's pretty subtle. It's very, very subtle. It's
Okay.
I
Any
guess
other commission members?
And I have a question on that, Frank.
Yep.
Is it going the whole length of the back or just that corner?
just that corner essentially, Penny. It
That's what
wraps
I thought.
around
Okay.
the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as though you're encompassing.
No,
whole
we're not converting
place.
anything to a neighbor or anything like that, I wouldn't
Yeah.
say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, would it be possible to limit the height of that to
There you
6
go.
inches?
Probably, yeah, probably.
Okay.
They'll
How's
be
that,
in the
Jen?
notice.
Okay.
Jen Smith.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else?
We're gonna close an issue, Jen.
Yes.
Okay. Can I make a motion, Frank?
I'm surprised you asked.
Well, I'm being polite.
Frank, can I make a motion to close an issue, please?
Sure. Penny, you want to second that?
I'll second it.
All right.
Got to have some fun.
There we go.
Yes, we do.
All right, we got a motion from Richard, a second from Penny. All in
Okay.
favor, Brendan,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Cool. All right.
All right,
50
thank you.
Eli. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot,
very
guys.
much. Appreciate
Thank
Yep.
you,
it.
guys.
Great
That looks
holiday
really
week.
nice. Appreciate all your help with that.
Thank you.
Eli.
It looks like we have Dylan Brady raising his hand.
There he is. Yep. I'm unmuting him. And this is another one. I think we opened it, but we have not discussed it.
Correct. I do remember opening this one. So
Okay.
Great. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Great. For the record, I am Dylan Brady with Brady Consulting, here to represent the applicant and owner, Jeffrey Lennox at 50 Eli Avenue. The existing conditions shown on the right is a dwelling shown with the gray hatched, and the proposed conditions are on the right. Proposed dwelling is a dark orange with the proposed deck in yellow. The existing resources, wetland resources on site are to the north. It is a bordering vegetative wetland on the northwesterly, and then a salt marsh on the northeasterly as it wraps around towards just the general east direction. We're also in land subject to coastal storm flowage here. The existing dwelling does not have any sort of FEMA flood compliance. It is a full concrete foundation with no flood openings. The proposed dwelling will have 9 insulated smart vents to become fully FEMA compliant to allow storm waters to pass through it. The 50-foot setback is shown in a dark dash line. With some Lucas environmental comments, we have adjusted so nothing will be within 50 feet of the salt marsh. The proposed impervious material here is actually a net decrease. So we are decreasing the amount of impervious material on site, and we are proposing mitigation plantings of 190 square feet. We want to buffer up where the existing brush is. That is the closest setback. So we want to make sure that buffer is enhanced in that area. With that, I'll just turn it over to the commission with any questions they may have about the project.
Thank you. Jen?
Yes, we had Lucas Environmental review this. They provided comments which were included on this plan. Um, a, it, a, One of the comments, though, that I'm not sure has been addressed, but it's just something we can add later. But some additional, she had mentioned about updating the narrative. But I think where she was going with it was to have more detail about the foundation for the house. Um, So maybe you can talk more about that and like for the decks, what how many piles are going in for those or what are they doing for the deck? But I did want to say that the house isn't going more east necessarily. I mean, maybe like a foot east, but it's mostly the addition is going west. And so the driveway will be moving a little farther up Eli Avenue. Um, which I thought was all good to, be rebuilding this house, FEMA compliant, and anything additional is going farther up the street. I know they were heard by zoning last week. I don't think there was any particular comments from that, but they're at least going through that process. And I did have a question about the willow tree that's just east of the house, if there was hopes to keep that, or if we knew if it was going to be removed or they were hoping to keep it.
Yeah, we are planning to keep that willow tree.
Good.
Okay.
And we were approved by zoning last week as well. So that was a closed hearing.
Okay.
As far as the foundation, I did just add Luke's Environmental wanted to know the specs on the smart vents. I have added them. Each vent covers 200 square feet. So they were numbered accordingly with the proposed dwelling to cover the square footage that's proposed. The porch to the north is completely on footings as well as the deck. There is 19 proposed footings approximately for total between the porch and the deck.
Okay. Okay. And at the moment, I don't have any other questions. There weren't any DEP comments for this site.
Okay. Um, Brendan? Let's start.
Okay. So what's the square footage of the old, what's the increase in square footage?
So total, there's actually a net
Just
decrease, but the house is increasing by approximately 100 square feet.
okay. Hence the 190 mitigation. And I guess you're right to the 50 there, if I'm not
Correct.
mistaken. Is there
Correct.
any and this is all, I look at the map, it's all
Yeah, it's all existing developed lawn area.
yeah.
There's no tree removal or vegetation. It's all existing used land.
Yeah, I guess I'm all right with it. Yeah, I guess I don't have any other questions.
Okay. Eric?
Um, so in the 50, just paper north of the proposed mitigation planting area, there's a little note on that. It says existing bushes. Has there been any other sort of vegetation ID done on the site? And if so, has there been any identification of invasive species, in that area of where you're planting specifically, or anywhere else on the property that you guys might have seen?
Yeah, so Lucas Environmental did make a comment about going through an invasive species analysis. We haven't done that, but we are open to if we were to do the analysis and remove the invasive species and really clean up that buffer zone there with the existing bushes.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great opportunity with the work being done and the mitigation being introduced, especially considering just looking at the plant schedule, the ground covers. The proposal is for the seed mix, and we all know seed takes a little bit of time. Not that it's a bad solution for mitigation, but just if there are invasives on site, to be able to give that mitigation area a chance to really succeed the way that we all hope. I think mitigate invasive plan could be beneficial here. I had one other thing, but I just lost my train of thought. Maybe if it comes back to me, Frank,
Yep.
I'll
We'll
speak up.
loop you back in.
Yeah, and just a note as well, we did add a note on the side, conservation notes, just that the contractors will implement an invasive species treatment protocol prior to planting. So that is on the plan as well.
Very good.
Excellent. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you.
Okay. Richard?
No, I don't think I have any questions on this right now. Thank you, Frank.
Penny?
Yeah, is this the last house on the road, Frank?
On the right side.
On the right side? Okay. Okay. No, I don't, it looks pretty good. Yeah. I'm okay, Frank. Thank you.
Okay. Roger?
No questions for me.
Okay. Jen, did we have anything else from Lucas in that regard? Were there any other comments of concern or?
The comments she had were addressed. She didn't provide final comments to this plan other than asking about an updated narrative, but the point of that was to add the detail about the foundation, which I think maybe she didn't see was necessarily on the site plan, just because I don't think she had taken a deep dive into these plans, but her other comments were addressed. I mean, it was, adding the details about the resources, and I think previously there might have been a little, couple corners of the deck might have gone over the 50, so that was pulled in to be within the 50. And then the details about setting up the, where the dumpsters or any
Yeah.
kind of, construction setup might be, but putting all that on the plan.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one? No. I don't really have anything. I think you've covered most of the issues. It's a developed area, kind of in line with what was there before, even the adjacent to that 50 in the corner, and they're held with a setback on the other side. I think seems fine to me. And we didn't have anybody in the audience, right?
Nope.
I
do
did
not
just think of
see.
one other thing.
Sure.
Minor thing, Dylan. And I'm not sure. I apologize if this is the willow that Jen was referring to, but Paper North within the 50, there's a tree identified just to the left of the existing bushes area. Are you going to be providing any sort of tree protection area for the root zone and the trunk on that, just because it is within the limit of work? It'd be a shame if something inadvertent happened to that tree that would cause it to have to come down.
Yeah, absolutely. We could definitely implement a tree protection for that tree there. We plan to save it, so we'll do that.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Willows were never my favorite,
No.
so
Because they're dirty.
they soak up a lot of water, but they're pretty messy.
Yeah, they are dirty.
And the I guess the mitigation area, I missed it. If it's not really, is it spelled out what we're getting on that, Eric? I didn't really notice.
Yeah, there's a plant schedule on the right, just talking about 5 plethora and 2 ilex, and then
Oh, I
to
see
be,
it now.
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
overseeded with conservation mix.
Okay. Good to me.
All right. Can we
Take a
close the
motion.
issue, Jen?
Yes, you can close an issue. I think we would add a condition about asking for tree protection for that one tree, and usually we include something about the driveway material just to remind people that if the surface is to change, to come back to the commission.
Yeah, don't just change it on your own. I make a motion to close an issue.
That's Penny. We have a second.
I'll second.
That was Eric. All in favor? Brendan
Yes.
and Roger
Yes.
and Richard
Yes.
and
Yes.
Frank. Frank, yes. Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Thank you. Good luck. On 104 Edward Foster Road on June 30th, 2025, 6 p.m. The Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for a notice of intent filed by Chris and Susan Kruber. For construction of an elevator, shaft, deck extension, addition of a single-family home located at 104 Edward Foster Road, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
And they requested a continuance. I think they have a change to their plans that they're making, so continuing to August 4th.
I make a motion, we continue 104 Edward Foster to August 4th.
Okay.
I'll second that.
From Brendan, all in favor, Eric
Yes.
and Roger
Yes.
and Richard
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Great. Okay. The only bad part is we're just kicking them down the road.
I
That's
know.
true.
35 Brunswick Street. Um,
We do need to open this, and we have, yeah, I'll let you open
Okay.
it.
on June 30th, 6 p.m., Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for notice of intent and stormwater permit filed by William and Nan Farrell for the demolition and reconstruction of a single-family house at 35 Brunswick Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available and posted on the agenda on the town website. And Richard,
Yes.
or Jen first, actually,
I
sorry.
was going to say.
Well, go right to
Sure.
Jen.
She ran away.
She left. Can you believe it?
Who's doing this one?
Maybe I had it right the first time.
No, why don't you go to Grady and let him talk about it?
Okay.
That's a good idea.
All right, great. It is me again. Again, for the record, Dylan Brady with Grady Consulting. Here to present the applicant owner, William and Ann Farrell at 35 Brunswick Street. So similar to last time, the existing conditions is shown on the left with the gray hatching, an existing dwelling with a deck. The existing dwelling, again, in land subject to coastal storm flowage, has no flood openings and is not FEMA compliant. The existing deck has vertical lattices, which you don't like to see with the storms. It's very low to the ground, can cause an issue with storms and debris and such like that. So the proposed conditions on the right, with the main dwelling shown in dark orange and the proposed deck shown in yellow, will be raised to be FEMA flood compliant. The FEMA flood zone here is elevation 13. The proposed first floor elevation is 18.4. So we're raising up a lot to allow more natural dune movement as well as wave action storm to move underneath the house. We are in, as well, like I said, coastal dune. So the existing house will, the proposed house will be raised, and therefore the coastal dune will have more natural. We're returning everything underneath the proposed house to natural dune. So the existing 650 square feet of house that exists with a concrete foundation will be gone and will all be returned to natural coastal dune. In addition to this, we are proposing mitigation plantings in the north west side of the property to help stabilize that coastal dune. And with that, I'll turn over the commission. It's a very similar project than the one before, so I'll turn it over to the commission with any questions you might have.
Thank you. Jen?
The comments from DEP were about it being in a dune, so it should be elevated on open piles, which is what they're proposing. So great that the home is going up and keeping the surface natural throughout the site. I think they're keeping their gravel driveway. And as much, any vegetation that can be kept that's on the site that's helpful, that's great. I know that corner where they're proposing there's something there, so looks like a good place to keep adding to. And I don't think I had any other the couple comments I had, he addressed them in this revised plan, so I'm set for now.
Okay. So now Richard, what would you like to?
This will be a good move for this particular house. I would suggest that there be some sort of protection made for the neighbors. The street does slope ever so slightly towards River Street, and so I think there ought to be a hay bale or something around the limit of work, just to protect it in the event there happens to be any kind of either big rainstorm or, of course, tidal event. Although there is quite a dune to get over, it can happen. And I was very glad to hear that the deck is not going to have anything going down to the surface, so that's good. Otherwise, it's just a great move for that particular house. And I don't have any other questions.
Thank you. Brendan?
I guess my question has to do with the mitigation area. So it seems like it's, as Jen mentioned, it's already has some vegetation there. Are we planning on taking that out and replanting it with something, or um,
No, we were planning on just adding to what was already there,
okay.
just to enhance it. If there is a different solution that you suggest, we'd be open to it. But that was the initial plan.
Okay. So given that there's something there, and I assume it's native, I'm not sure if you know that or not. Do you?
I do not know if it's native at the moment. I've not been on site, but I can make I'm happy to accept a condition if it's invasive to remove it.
Okay. And yeah, I was just wondering, so like how like you have this mitigation area of 200 and 321 square feet, but it seems that a significant portion of that already exists. So I was wondering if maybe we could add more to it, because this house is getting larger, although it is going up on piles, and I do really appreciate that everything is underneath. It's just a thought. And I guess my last part of this, my apologies to Eric for stepping on your toes. That's all. Thank you.
Well, Eric, you want to go next? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. No, no worries, Brendan. It was top of my mind, as you would imagine. I was just curious, Dylan, on how, yeah, that mitigation area would be executed with what looks to be like already some dense vegetation in that corner. Obviously, if it is invasive, I'm not sure if it is. I haven't been on site. We'd like that removed. But if it's not, then we would love to be able to introduce some of the great plants that you have on the planting schedule here, in a way that would be beneficial for both the existing vegetation and that is to be introduced. So I don't know if the footprint changes a little bit, because I know just some of these things like the clethra and the ilex would really not like to be shaded all day, and because it is looking like it's pretty dense vegetation from the image that I have. I just want to make sure that everything succeeds on site. So not sure what the direction is to make sure that both the introduced mitigation plantings survive and we don't have a loss of existing beneficial vegetation on site. But that's just the only thing that I had flagged.
Okay. Penny?
Oh, I take my hat off to the homeowners. You're putting it up on pilings, you're leaving it all natural underneath. Hallelujah. It's nice to see. Um, and yeah, Mother Nature can do her thing, but they can also enjoy the area. I don't have any issues with this one. I'm very pleased.
Took you a long time to say that.
I know, that's because I'm old.
Roger?
Yeah, I got a quick question. I know that area, it's a little bit tight back there. Is there going to be any impact to the neighbors to the north? I think they have like it looks like some kind of a concrete patio. Is that fencing along the back going to be impacting that?
Yeah, I'm not aware of is it an existing concrete patio?
I'm just looking at the area. I know they're pretty tight. I guess, is any of the work that you guys are going to be doing is going to have any negative impact to the neighbor properties?
Yeah, yeah. So to the north, there'll be no touching of the fence. The fence will stay as is, and the piles won't affect it. So as far as that's concerned, we won't be going any closer than it's about 7 feet with that open deck there.
Okay, perfect. Only question.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. So the parking for this right now, there's a driveway, an existing gravel driveway, and now part of that driveway is covered by the building. Is the driveway, the gravel driveway being expanded at all?
Yeah, I believe the plan right now, with the house going there, is that there still should be able to fit two cars in the beginning area there. If there is plans to expand, then I will reflect on the plan and come back. But at this moment, the existing driveway will stay as is.
Okay. And there's no walks or anything to these stairs and landings. They're just going down to grade.
That's correct.
Okay. And is that material around the house? Is that grass or gravel, beach, sand? What is the material sort of around the house now? Do we
Uh,
know?
I think it's
yeah, let
mostly.
me just I actually have a couple pictures here. But it is mostly all just natural dune sand where it's not impervious,
Okay.
with some grass vegetation, beach vegetation. Um, so we're proposing to keep it as existing.
Gotcha. Um,
Hey,
so this existing concrete walk that's shown that goes to the house, that's going to be removed.
That's correct.
Okay. All right. I'm good.
Frank,
Yes, Richard.
just a couple of quick things. I did see, I didn't notice it before, silt sock is proposed in the back. I still think there ought to be something along the, what side is that?
So you're saying along Brunswick? You think this
Well, not
should
along
be?
Brunswick, but to the side of the house, headed towards the neighbor, toward the O'Briens.
Well, it looks like
Which is
it's
the
on
next.
three sides now.
Yeah,
You're,
okay, well then oh, it is there. I'm sorry, then I'm missing it. The other thing I did want to know though is, it's gonna be an effort to get the remains of that house out, but when you're putting in the posts, will you be advising the neighbors of when that's going to happen? I say that because we have had issues in that part of Humrock many times with people not knowing it was going to happen and their houses, it's very close there. There are a lot of houses that are close by. The houses are shaking, and in some cases we had major complaints, not on Brunswick Street, but on adjacent streets that houses really shook. They didn't know what was happening and they didn't know what was going to happen. So I would hope the neighbors were advised if they aren't, just that it's going to happen before it happens.
so they can get the china off the.
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
off
that
the
is part of it.
walls.
Yes. I mean, as I say, the houses are especially headed towards River Street. They're pretty close.
No, I remember that, Richard, years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
So
don't know that that's anything that we can really. Can
I
we
know I'm
put that
making
in
it as a
our? I mean, it'd be
suggestion.
nice for the engineer to note that and
Yep.
give the homeowners a heads up.
Yep.
Just let your neighbors know when they're gonna be pounding.
Yeah. Well, they'll know it when it happens, but it's nice to
Oh,
know in
yeah,
advance.
get a little
yeah,
heads up
no,
and
I get, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
um,
would be. I'd be happy to relay that over to the homeowners.
Great.
Yeah.
okay.
That's good. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any? Okay, take a motion.
I make a
Um,
motion.
Jen?
Could I just say for if we close an issue, which I would recommend, it sounds like we're good with the square footage of the driveway. The erosion controls around three sides and maybe something to protect that current existing vegetation in that corner just to make sure it doesn't get all torn out
Yeah.
unknowingly. And then the surface area of the site is natural and that's how it should be finished.
Yep,
Yep.
Okay, so those would kind of be the conditions to add to it. All right, thank you.
yep.
That's all.
Okay, I make a motion that we close an issue.
It's
I'll
Penny.
second that.
Second from Richard.
Yep.
All in favor, Brendan,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Thank you.
Thank you all for hearing me tonight. Have a
Thanks.
great
Have a
night.
good night. We have 803 Country Way.
Close
On
utility.
June 30th, 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a hearing under Chapter 131, Section 4 of the Mass General Laws and Section 3070 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for the request of a determination of applicability for Don McGill for utility work located at 103 Country Way, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda posted on the website. We have somebody from Grady, and the plan says 799 803, but the filing is for 803 or their combined property. Should it be both?
Yes, that's correct. I'm Paul Seberg from Grady Consulting.
Good evening, Paul.
Hi, Paul.
Hi, everyone. So the work itself is actually all taking place within Country Way, the street layout.
Oh, okay.
Nothing's actually on the property of 799
Okay.
and 803 Country Way. That's
Oh,
within the 200-foot riverfront area.
Yep.
okay.
Hunters.
So
Why don't you go ahead and fill us in here?
yeah, so if you go to sheet 5, I think that would probably be the best sheet that shows everything. Yep, I think perfect. Yes. So the 200-foot river, there's a 200-foot riverfront area that's associated with the Bound Brook that's located to the east of Country Way, shown on this plan. The proposed work that's taking place associated with the development of 799 and 803 Country Way is the proposed water service and fire protection service located on the right side of the plan there. That will be connecting into the existing water main on Country Way. And then in addition to that, we're proposing a sidewalk along Country Way on the westerly side that's shown in light gray. And a portion of that on the northerly end of the site will also be located in the 200-foot riverfront area. So with that said, I'd be happy to turn it over to questions from the commission.
Okay. Jen?
I think this certainly meets the requirements for a negative determination. It's like you said, all the utility work is in the existing road, and a bit of the 200-foot goes on to the where the sidewalk is proposed. So the resource area is the Bound Brook on the opposite side of the street behind some of that development there.
Okay. Um,
One other item that I just want to bring up is that when we were doing some investigating on the drainage system of Country Way, there was a clogged outlet pipe. You can see a catch basin that's located on the uh, southwesterly side of this plan. There's a drainage pipe that exits behind the neighbor's driveway over there. That's clogged and will need to be cleaned out by the DPW. We didn't submit it as part of this application because it just came about a week ago. But I understand that might fall under just general maintenance of the drainage system for the town, but they may need to get in there sooner rather than later to fix that issue for the abutter there.
Is that is that drainage that's part of the roadway?
Yes, exactly. It's actually the catch basin to the right of that
Okay, so
in the middle of the plan
there's a
there.
structure there and a
Yes.
catch basin. It's part of the road because we
Yep.
usually allow them maintenance um
Right.
without a big to-do on that.
Right. I just wanted to bring it up just so they can get out there and fix that. And since I was before the commission tonight and we just realized it was an issue.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. So who wants to start here? Eric?
No, I don't think I have anything on this one thing.
Okay. Brendan?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Penny?
All good.
Richard?
No questions on this. Thank you, Frank.
Roger?
No questions.
Did I ask if anybody in the audience? I can't remember.
Not yet, I don't think.
Okay. I mean, it's a huge project for us. It's pretty minimal discussion. I say
Yeah.
huge, it's a big project, but
It is.
our work is, or our jurisdiction's pretty minimal. Okay, so, Frank, yes, I'm all set.
Okay, I make a motion for -3.
Penny? Do we get a second?
I'll second that.
Brendan, all in favor? Eric?
Yes.
Roger?
Yes.
Richard?
Yes.
And Frank, yes.
Do you
Great.
mind if I amend that to a -2?
Why?
It's a in riverfront area, so it'd be -2, not -3.
So it's not in buffer. It's
Yeah.
in the resource area.
Okay.
Yes,
So you want to go with a 2?
Yes.
Yeah, I can just write it as you voted for
Yeah.
it too. Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
no.
fine. We don't have to revote it.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. I just wanted your permission before I started changing words around.
No, that's
Thanks,
fine.
Josh.
Of course.
And Roger on NOIs, negative is good.
Positive isn't what they want to hear.
I took a quick note on that one as the follow-up, so thank you.
Okay, good.
27 Brook Street. On June 6th, June 30th, 2025, 6
Oh,
p.m.
I know what that
Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Mass General Laws and Section 30700 Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws. Request for determination filed by Chris Martin for the conversion of pavement to landscaping located at 27 Brook Street. Scituate, abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend.
And I do think we have Chris Martin on the call. I'm requesting for you to unmute you if you want to present your project. Hold on, let me try this other Martin. 27 Brook Street. There you are.
You go.
Good evening.
Hi.
Christian Deb Martin sitting here. This is the former senior center slash fire station slash primary school that we've been renovating for the last year and a half. And we're getting to the point where we're going to address the outside. As you are all aware, you had basically, as a senior center, 100% pavement on the front and rear of the property. And what we're trying to do is leave the pavement in the rear, leave a driveway in the front, and then change the rest to a grassy area and a planting area in the front of the building. So it's 100% paved. It's probably the only property in Scituate that's 100% paved, no trees, no bushes, no plantings, nothing. So we're going the opposite direction, trying to restore some of it back.
Good thought.
Nice. Okay, Jen?
Yes. So I think it's about um you gave me some calculations of the square footage in the behind the structure that'll be removed. And then the same thing in the front. So you're going to redo some of it'll be redone as far as the driveway is concerned, but then the other side will be remove the asphalt and plantings, landscaping. It won't be paved.
Correct.
And then an area right behind the house, some of the asphalt will come out, and that'll become a patio space.
Correct.
So all of that is certainly permissible with an RDA. I'd say for this one, I would just add in that we're not accepting any delineations, given that we're in riverfront and we're in flood, and I think there's some marsh back there. But converting asphalt back to lawn is something that can be done with this.
Yeah, so basically you've got in the back, you've got probably 15 feet off the back of the property, which will be some sort of patio system. And then just beyond that, you see a 40 feet by 60 feet area, which will be the entire property. So the property on the north side is a stone wall, and then the property on the east side is actually a stone wall with a wooden fence. So we're going to take out every piece of pavement in that 40 by 60 area and replace it with sod. And we're going to do sod only because to establish a lawn with the cost of water and the heat, and we're probably not going to do this until we get better conditions, but ultimately by putting sod down, it'll be instant. You won't have any runoff or any problems to deal with the brook.
Okay. Um, who would like to lead off on this one? Eric?
Um, I think my biggest question is just because there is pavement, going over a culvert over the Scituate Brook, and obviously I'm assuming this property is going, from Brook Street to First Parish, and that whole driveway. Is that what you're referring to in terms of removing everything? In
Yeah, so
terms
the
of
back of the property is First Parish Road, and the front of the property where you see Brook Street on the drawing is actually the original entrance to the senior center. So our primary driveway parking is going to be in the rear. We're going to keep one driveway for a single car garage on the left side of the north side of Brook Street, but the remaining pavement will remain all the way from First Parish over the bridge, over the brook, and then probably another 30 feet. So you'll lose only 40 feet. So from the brook edge of the bank to the actual structure is 107 feet. So you're going to come out about 15 and then have a 40-foot piece of grass. So you'll probably be 55 feet off the building. So you'll have another 45 plus feet until you get to the brook edge, which will remain pavement. And there's actually a drain on the bridge that drains right into the brook, the
so
pre-existing.
just so I'm following, because I think you lost me there for a minute. Everything that's paved from First Parish to the rear of 27, and rear meaning the side of 27 Brook Street that is facing First Parish, what portion of that is removed? The just so I'm clear. So First Parish on what's being shown on the screen right now, from First Parish to the bridge, that's remaining.
That's remaining. Then on the bridge, which is about 31 feet of pavement on the bridge will remain, and then another 30 feet of pavement, which will be the parking area for the property. But the area that she's drawing right now in grass will turn green, and that'll just be we're trying to get some semblance of a yard because it's now a single family home.
Understood. So then everything from paper south of that green area, minus where you have identified as a concrete patio. So all around the building and the Brook Street side, that pavement is the removed section.
Well, on the side of the building, on the north side, heading towards away from the harbor, that's just a stone wall with, and it's only 3 feet wide. And then on the other side of the building is only 3 feet wide. That will remain paved for now. Um, that's basically how you get from the front of the building to the back of the building outside on the left side, or the north, the east side of where the harbor side is, will remain as a walkway.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just needed to wrap my head around, what and where, and all of that. So I appreciate you having the patience to walk me through that.
Brendan?
I don't have anything additional. Thank you.
Okay. Richard?
Are there, excuse me, is there any specific planting plan that you have already in place for the area on the Brook Street side next to the driveway that you're keeping?
Well, we have to, basically, you've got a stone wall on the side of the property. We're going to extend that stone wall across the front a little bit because we're going to need to hide a generator, and you can't have a generator within 5 feet of a window. But beyond that, it's going to be just perennials, small garden. It's not a big area. So you'll have an upper area which will be just probably mulch and whatever. But it doesn't go anywhere. It can't, there's no runoff capability there at all. So it'll just be simple perennial gardens. Nothing big, no trees, no large bushes.
No, we have a resident consultant that just spoke a few minutes ago that could always have ideas. Eric might, but thank you. That's what I wanted to hear.
Okay.
Penny?
No, I'm all set with this one, Frank.
Okay. Roger?
No questions. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody in the audience, Jen?
I don't see any hands raised for this one. I did want to just say what we're approving is the removal of the asphalt back to lawn, not re-asphalting anything. That would need to be a different conversation if you're coming back to do that. I just want to kind of add that in there, but I don't see any hands raised from any from the audience.
Okay. So maybe we should clarify that the I can see it's great what you're doing with the building, and removing some of this asphalt, getting some grass. I'm sure they're going to mention flowers and things like that, which is nice. On the front of the building, do you think you're going to have to repave that section as a
And
driveway?
down the line, but my wife and I do the majority of the work ourselves. That's why the building is taking us so long.
Okay.
It's not in the immediate future, and I've been really forward-coming to see Jen whenever I need to. So if we get to that point, I'll certainly readdress the commission and ask what you'd like us to do.
Yeah, and I don't see that being a big deal if it's already asphalt anyways. The fact that you're already removing a bunch of this is great. And
Yeah.
No,
we took the ugly out of the building. Now we're going to try to take the ugly out of the yard.
well, it's looking awesome, and I don't have any more comments. So, which negative do we want for this one, Josh?
Well, it's everything. So let's do
-2,
negative.
Anthony?
I want to do a 2B that we're not confirming any delineations, but -2 also because we're in Riverfront. We're in a few things.
Okay.
Okay, so I make a motion for a -2B and a
Well, I'm sorry, a positive 2B and a negative
Oh.
2. Sorry.
a +2B and a -2.
So
Yes.
really, what she's just saying, there's no wetlands delineation
Yeah.
been done by a professional, but we know what exists here.
Right,
So, okay.
it's obvious, yeah.
So that's a motion from Penny,
Yep,
and we have a second from.
I'll
Brendan.
second that.
I missed who was first.
Eric, that was Eric.
Eric.
Okay, Eric got it first. All in favor, Brendan
Yes.
and Richard
Yes.
and Roger.
Yes.
And Frank, yes. Okay. 26 Atlantic Drive. On
that's
June
right.
6th, on June 30th, I don't know why I keep doing that, 2025, 6 p.m., the Situate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of Mass General Laws, Section 30700, Town of Situate Code of Bylaws, for an RDA of applicability filed by Richard Dubois for repair and extension of existing open deck located at 6 Atlantic Drive. Scituate abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information, access, and meetings available on the agenda. So, Jen?
Yes, I think we have the applicants. You've been unmuted if you want to.
We can't hear
Yes,
you yet.
yes, this is Richard Dubois. Can you hear me okay?
We got it, Richard. Thank you.
So I'm just proposing to square off my deck to make it more uniform with the rest of the deck that's there. And we'll need to put 2 new pilings in to support that.
Okay. Jen?
Yeah, so I think you are redoing.
Oh, Jen, you're gonna bring your mic down.
Thank you. All right, so you're redoing your deck, but the other piles you don't need to replace. These are 2 additional ones to finish it off.
That's correct.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the footings? It might be in your description. I'm just looking for the info.
The new pilings that are going to go in.
Yes.
Okay, I have not. I've contacted an engineer to look at that for us. I wasn't aware you would need that information for the meeting.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Well, okay. So that was all right. Otherwise, this is in Hummerock. It's barrier beach and land subject to coastal storm flowage, and this is
Yes, it
yeah,
will be
in all of those resources.
Yeah, it'll be the same pilings as the rest of the deck has, which is the wooden pilings that I drove
okay.
down in.
Okay. Thank you.
That's good.
Richard?
Yeah, they certainly are on the water there. And no, I really don't have any questions. I'm very familiar with the area and the house, and it would make sense to square that off as far as I can see. I do have one question, and maybe it's maybe I'm just not reading it right. The height of the deck now off the ground?
I don't have the exact information, but I think
Roughly.
it's
Give me a guess.
probably 15 feet.
Okay. All right. And so it's going to be the same level, same, and you're just
Yes.
squaring. I know you've said that already, squaring up. Yeah. No, I think that's about it. Just be careful if those are pounded in, will they be approaching from the beach, or will they be going between the next door neighbors and your house?
Well, I imagine they're going to be coming down. There's room on looking at the house on the left-hand side to bring the
Yep.
vehicle down to pound them
Yep.
in.
But then they'd have to go around the
Yes.
far side of the deck.
Yes.
And I honestly don't recall if you have that much room there.
Oh yeah, no, there's enough room to come down there, definitely.
You know what
Down-
I would say? I'd suggest is let's just when you decide the type of pier, why don't you just give that information to the commission?
Okay.
And some of it, to Richard's point, might be accessibility, and also how much real load you have there. I mean, you may find that it's more economical to do a couple of helicals
Yes.
or some other thing. Why don't you look into that and just get back to Jen and Josh with your means and methods? I think that would be a good thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep.
Yes.
Sure does.
Okay. So yeah, Richard, Penny.
No, I'm all set. I just want to know, what they're doing.
Okay. Brendan,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Eric.
I do just have one question. So we're squaring off the deck, all well and good, but by doing so, it appears as if you're going to be cutting off your stairwell down to the beach. How are you planning on either replacing that or are you just eliminating beach access? Because it's just not on the plan.
Well, that stairway years ago was taken away. So I have a aluminum ladder type thing there now, and we're just going to take it away.
Okay. Yep. I just wasn't sure. So thanks for clearing that up, but that's all I got.
Okay. And Roger?
No questions.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience for this one?
I don't see any hands raised.
Okay. The other thing you might do if when you're going for your building permit and talking to the building department is whether or not you do need a second means of egress from that deck. And you might just want to clear that with the building department.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And if you do and you already have something that works there, again, I think if you get it to the commission, we'll can work with that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Can I get a
So
motion?
what do we do? That's what I was gonna say. What kind of a motion do we need on this, Frank?
Right.
I never know.
We're going to go with 2 because we're in the resource area.
Then I'll make a motion for a -2 for 26 Atlantic Drive.
From Richard, there was a second.
Second.
From Penny, all in favor. Brendan,
Yes.
Eric,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
Frank, yes. Great. Good. 11 Julian Street.
It's a Hamrock night.
Yeah.
What we're going to do without you, Richard.
I'm still around.
On June 30th, 2025, 6 p.m., the Scituate Conservation Commission will hold a wetlands hearing under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the Massachusetts General Laws and Section 30700, Town of Scituate Code of Bylaws for the request for determination of applicability filed by Elizabeth McNeil for construction of a deck located at 11 Julian Street, Scituate. Abutters and other interested parties are invited to attend. Information to access the meetings available on the agenda posted on the website.
And if they can please raise their hand if they're on the meeting to present. I don't necessarily see a McNeil. But they did provide a pretty good description. All right, so we have the plan up, and I don't know if we have an image of the site, but they're constructing a 8 by 16 deck at the rear of the existing home, much of which is already there. So they need 2 additional footings for support, and they're planning on using the diamond pier system. I want to say they somewhere in what they gave us was some more details about
There you go.
about that. Right. So that yeah, so they want to put a deck on the back of. They said they only need 2.
Okay.
So that's the information we have for this one. I'm just looking at what I have also to see if there's anything else to add to it. But again, in Hummerock, I didn't have any additional questions for it. It was a open deck.
Okay.
Open and shut.
So, Richard,
Well, my opinion is the river is to the west of the house by a little bit. There's no water directly behind them. I just can't see how this would be an issue at all.
Okay. Eric?
Yeah, I don't see any issue.
Brendan?
I have no questions.
Penny?
Looking good.
Roger?
No questions for me.
Okay. Do we have anybody in the audience?
I do not see any hands raised.
Okay. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. It's not
Yeah,
a
it
big
does. Really does.
piece. Those footings aren't invasive at all. So there's no mess there. So I don't see any issue. Okay.
Oh, so I'll make a motion for a negative.
2.
3, 2,
2.
1.
All right. And Penny made a motion for a -2. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
That's from Brendan. All in favor? Eric,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay. Well, look at that. What do we have for administrative items? We have some minutes.
Yes. 6:16.
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as written for June 16th.
That's from Penny. A second.
I'll second that.
That's from Brendan.
Brendan.
All in favor? Eric,
Yes.
Richard,
Yep.
and Roger. I'm not going to ask you to vote because you weren't there. And Frank, yes. And then we have modification request for 6, Rebecca.
Yes, I'm not sure if anybody is on the call to talk about it. They did send us a sketch of the plan. They wanted to add, so this is one we recently gave an order of conditions to elevate the home on wooden piles, and they had in their conditions, I want to say it was crushed stone underneath the house. Anyways, they are asking to do pervious pavers under the house, and then um, some lattice work. They do have some details about the lattice. Um,
Do I not have it digitally, Jen?
maybe not. Let me quickly save it in the folder, and then
Please.
I'll let you know. Okay, it's just saved in the project folder, not in a 6
Oh,
Rebecca
okay.
one. I just saved it in there. So we did have in the orders no skirting, and we did, and the conditions that we issued were with a particular surface under the house as they had proposed. Um, I do have a concern for pervious pavers in this resource area. It's certainly dune, kind of bordering the barrier beach section of where Lighthouse and Rebecca Road start to really narrow. And it's an area that we're trying to get those hard surfaces out of there.
So I guess my question, Jen, would be, is this something we want to review as a minor modification, or do you think it requires an amendment?
I would well, certainly an amendment. If you have any feedback you want to give them, it'd be great to give it to them. But I mean, it is specifically changing some of the conditions that we have. It's not just a change to the approved plan. So an amendment would be my recommendation.
Okay.
But I wouldn't mind giving them any feedback you have about. Well, I mean, I've let them know the same thing I told you in my notes about pervious pavers in this area.
Okay. And did we not allow skirting when we conditioned this?
We happened to in this one, correct. We said no skirting. That was part of the meeting, part of the conditions.
And they're proposing skirting in this amendment?
They are, and they do have some details about it.
Okay. So they can bring all that to us and then we can discuss it.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So I guess you should
Let them know to file an amendment.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I will give them that feedback. And for the C of Cs, 61 and 63 Border Street were the dock. They were the dock that was kind of done jointly. That one all looks good. Josh and I took a visit to see that. 22 Berries Landing at 116 Country Way and both the 105 Glades Roads. I didn't have any issues with. 62 Bossy Lane was a new build, and I did have a concern about the as-built and the mitigation area. Not, I can see the mitigation area that it's now vegetated, but it isn't on the as-built. So I would
Want it on there.
yeah, I want it on there. I don't want it to be considered lawn on the as-built if it's the mitigation area and it's planted now. So I'm not ready to issue that one, but I was okay with the other ones. 105 Glades was pretty old. It was one of them was for a tight tank, and the other one was for actually elevating the house, but it was maybe more than 10 years ago. So it's
They want to sell, Jen.
correct. So it all looks like the approved plan.
Okay.
Sounds good.
On the Rebecca Road one, Jen, when communicating with them, I just don't want them to, show up and then have them present something that we're going to look at and say, yeah, we're not too happy about X, Y, and Z. We might be looking at the pavers underneath. Like, is there a way to sort of prep them so they're not like, no? Like, I don't know if there's
I think so. I think we let them know we'd want to hear it as an amendment, so they need to get with their engineer, and that similar comments we've provided when other projects have filed in that area regarding pervious pavers not being considered the surface that we want in a barrier beach.
And we don't want skirts.
well that too. I'm just thinking like
Yeah.
to save
No, no.
everyone, some time and increase in efficiency so they don't just come to us with what they're having on the plan right now as the skirt and the pervious pavers for us just have them turn around and go produce something else to come. Like, I don't know what the communication on this type of administrative item looks like and what's appropriate and what's not. So that was basically the genesis of the question.
Yeah, I mean, any feedback from tonight or any feedback or questions or concerns is good to have to let them know.
Well, and I think what you're saying, Eric, Jen's going to convey that. At the same time, if people come in with, say they've got something more innovative and they want to throw a pitch to the commission, we sort of have to do that.
Of course.
But to your point, Jen's point, yeah, let's make it clear that we condition the project under certain requirements, and we're not going to deviate from those without some real significant information that's different than what we've been issuing the orders on now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're good with all those certificates of compliance?
I'm good with all of them, but Bossy Lane.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We did the minutes.
And yeah, we did want to bring up another topic.
So there's two more. One quick one. We have care and custody of the field on Border Street, and we're trying to let that field grow wild. The neighbor that's always mowed it cut a couple of strips. We've spoken to him and asked him not to do any more mowing there. But he did make a good point about maybe keeping one strip right up against the stone wall so that it could be easier to maintain, clear the overgrowth off the stone wall. And kind of thinking about what the commission would want to consider. And if he does that, would it make sense to have like one strip around the perimeter of the field so if people were walking it, that they could do that? Like a 6 foot wide swath around the perimeter. That's sort of what we have at Appleton Field.
Mhm.
We keep a strip mode around that so that people can walk the perimeter. It tends to keep people from roaming through the middle of the field too.
Well,
So
that's
just
what I did at Mordecai, Frank, and the town mows it every other week for me.
well, that's because they don't not want to disappoint you, Penny.
That's right.
But
That's right.
I think
if
it's a
I'm
good
just
idea.
wondering if how we feel about just having a swath around the um, perimeter of that field, just so folks can have an opportunity to walk around it.
I think it's
I
a
think
great
I think
idea.
it's a good idea.
Yeah, just ask them to stay right up towards the tree line.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think to
and
their point
don't make it
and
wide.
Go ahead, Eric.
suggestion of mowing along the stone wall, that happens to be, a source of poison ivy often, those stone walls. So having
Yeah.
access in there and able to manage that in an ongoing and pretty easy way, I think is a great suggestion. So I think both mowing along that as well as the perimeter is a pretty good idea.
And what was the plant that you suggested that can be grown in amongst that might actually crowd out the poison ivy?
Virginia creeper, believe it or not, they both can coexist together, but if there's some selective herbicide applications on just the poison ivy, the Virginia creeper will take over and pretty much suppress any further attempts of the poison ivy after a successful selective herbicide.
Gotcha. Well, I know that most folks want to see the stone wall. I mean, they just really
Yeah.
like the looks of that going along Border Street. So somehow got to figure out a way to maintain that. But I think the DPW's done some cleaning up of it before. We'll have to.
I know that's one challenge that the Norwell Conservation Commission, particularly Will, has a challenge maintaining all of their stone walls on their properties. So any
Right.
way that we can make that maintenance easier, I think we should lean into it.
Great. Because we are getting feedback. I guess this year everything's just grown in all ways.
Oh,
And
it's crazy.
but the poison ivy's out into the paths and walkways, and people are treading through it now to get to on the different trails.
Yeah, it's been a bumper year for them, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's coming up everywhere.
Yep. So that's on the field. And then the last one is there's going to be Jen, maybe you want to explain this a little bit more, but it concerns the North River.
Yeah.
And there's been a bill proposed that would essentially eliminate the North River Commission, at least, I don't know how many towns, Jen, all of them?
Correct. Correct. That's exactly it. So to eliminate the North River Commission and put the responsibility of administering the River Act, what is it exactly called, would go then to the local commissions in each town. So the jurisdiction that this particular act has, the North River Commission right now administers, and so they have a 300-foot area. I don't really know the details of it all because we don't really look at how they do it, but that would then each town would administer, their local conservation commission would administer for their town versus having this one commission that does all of the towns and they have a representative from each town. So that gives everybody a chance to, each town is represented, and then there's the consistency of having this one commission looking at these permits.
Yep.
So I think this North River Commission was created many years ago now to, was it 78 maybe?
78, yes.
It
was a good year.
And so they have jurisdiction over like views from the river houses, they have a formula of allowing a certain amount of disturbance in the corridor. And they look over a number of things, the health of the river. There just is a multitude of those pieces. And so, and I think they, we've always tried to work um, jointly with the North River Commission in terms of protecting the river. They sort of have their purview, we have ours. Some of them overlap a little bit, but I don't think it's ever been a real issue for anybody. It is another level of protection for the river, which is really a great resource. And this is going to put a lot more work on our office to oversee those pieces of the river. And we have a relatively small area of the river. I mean, there's other towns that have a much greater area to oversee. So I just personally don't see how this would really be helpful or beneficial for the river.
Neither do I.
And what we'd like to do is send a letter um, encouraging that to not be dissolved. If anybody has any comment or any other thoughts on that.
I think we need to, period.
I'm in favor. Send the letter.
Agreed.
So do we want to take a vote to that? Do you think that we would endorse this?
Official?
That we want to endorse keeping the North River Commission, not
Correct.
right.
Yeah, oppose the dissolution.
Okay.
Right,
I
opposed
make
to
a
dissolution.
motion that the board is in favor of keeping the North River Commission going strong
And not dissolving that.
and not dissolving it.
Okay, that's a motion from Penny.
Oh,
And we're going to send a letter to that
yes.
effect. Okay. Motion from Penny. Got any seconds?
I'll second it. All right, everybody second it.
So I think Eric got him.
Yep.
So Penny, Eric, Brendan,
Yes.
right, Richard,
Yep.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Okay, great. Then Jen, thanks for putting that together, and hopefully that will have some weight. I know that North and South River is working hard at that, as well as many other commissions. So, okay.
Yeah, is there any support for this bill with any of the other town commissions? And what was the genesis of this bill? Like, what was the reason for it? If you have it, if not, no big deal. It was just more of a curiosity on why this was even introduced.
There's many thoughts, and I don't know if we want to get into them.
Yeah, no big
Yeah,
deal.
all that's in the bill is to eliminate it. There's no, I don't remember reading a lot of details to it. It's just a couple sentences.
There's probably
And yeah,
been times when there's been some review of some of these legislations. Are they still effective or worthwhile or whatever? And I think someone had the feeling that maybe this was either overlapping other boards or an unnecessary part. But I think our interaction and our experience with this is that it's still a very viable and needed part of protecting the river.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
All good. All good.
great.
Okay.
So I don't know if we have anything else.
I don't think we do.
And I will make a
I'm surprised.
motion to adjourn.
That's a
Go
motion
on.
from Penny,
I second that.
second from Brendan. All in favor, Eric,
Yes.
Richard,
Yes.
Roger,
Yes.
and Frank, yes. Well, Richard,
Yes, sir.
this is your
Richard.
last official meeting. We certainly hope you enjoyed it, but we'll hopefully hear from you. You're still going to get all our correspondence, and we'll hope to get your input on some Humrock projects.
I'll do anything I can to help, and that time, if as long as I'm around, and we are going to do some traveling, but I'll be around quite a bit, and I'll be happy to help any way I can.
We'll
And
get as much out to you as early as possible to make
there
sure
you go.
Before you
No
go on
problem.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's not a problem. Well, I
All right.
appreciate it, and it's been a good 10 years. I really appreciate it, and I know everybody's going to do well. Roger, good luck. Feel free to give me a call. I'll help any way I can, and that goes for the other new member when he shows up.
Thank
Great.
you,
I
Richard.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Appreciate it a lot.
And
Okay.
Roger, don't hesitate. I know you've talked with Jen, and I know Penny will certainly give you her thoughts. So we don't have to
You don't want my thoughts.
No, I do
Oh,
appreciate it.
sure
I'll
about-
check with Jen and get some of your guys' contact information.
Yep.
Would like
Please.
to spend a little time learning from you guys and then really jump in, like I said earlier.
Well, I
Well,
think
there are some MAC courses that we will pay for you to go to in the fall,
so.
right?
Mass
She goes giving
Association
away
of
the money.
Conservation Commissions.
Yep.
So, but and please do. We really enjoy the review of all of our members, and it's worthwhile. So
Fun.
looking
Good group.
forward to it.
All right.
Okay, everybody
Thanks,
have a nice
everybody.
evening.
Take
Take
care.
care.
Yep.
Bye.
Good night.
Night.
Not at all.
Right.
And